guys back to Griffin's Industrial Welding School. Once again, my name is Mr. Griffin. Now we're going to go over the process of putting the wire back into the welding machine. Now, when you put the wire back into the machine, you'll notice right here on this circular part, now you notice it has a dial right here, okay? If you look at your wire, if it has a little space in between the circle, that means you want to use this long dial right here, okay? Now, if I had wire and it did not have a space in between the circle, then I would use the short dial right here, okay? So we're going to use the long dial. What you want to do is line up the hole with the dial. Now, you want to be careful not to crack this part, because if this cracks, then that means you wasted a spool of wire because it will no longer spin properly. Okay, it's going to be, stalling and things like that. So you want to line it up properly. Make sure it slides right in. Okay, once you get it in there, you're going to take your wire. Okay, that part that's bent, we want to cut that part. Kind of cut back behind it. Okay, then you want to take your wire, you want to slide it in this gap. This is called the stringer. You want to slide it in there. Once you slide it in, close this part and snap that in. That way the wire is connected. Okay, now if you wanted to tighten it, you could turn this to tighten it. Right now it's already in there pretty nice and tight. Okay. Now that we have it connected, normally we would clamp it as well. We don't have our clamp with us, but normally you can clamp it here. If you see this little hole right here, they have a clamp to make sure that the wire doesn't roll off. Okay. All right, now that you have the wire in, we're going to turn the machine. Okay, now we're going to turn the machine on. Okay, now when you turn the machine on, normally it takes you to the home screen, okay? We're gonna go down to where it says MIG mag, okay? When you're doing MIG, the MIG stands for metal inert gas, and that's the process we're using right now is MIG, okay? The MAG is metal active gas, okay? But most people call it MIG, all right? Now we're gonna press on this. Now voltage is basically telling you how hot you're welding. So voltage is similar to amperage for stick. It's basically telling you how hot you're welding with the MIG or flux core. The top one is wire speed. That's basically telling you how fast the wire is coming through the gun. Okay? Now normally when you're doing MIG, you're gonna hear it's gonna sound like bacon frying. If you don't hear that bacon frying sound, there's something wrong. It needs to sound like Sunday morning bacon. That's what it needs to sound like. Okay? If it doesn't sound like that, it's a problem. Okay? All right, so this is what we have as far as the settings. Normally, if you're doing a bend test, you want to go way hotter than this. So your voltage would be more around about 26, 27. The wire speed would be more around about, 465, 470 if you're doing an actual bend test. But just for practice, this is a good setting right here. Okay? All right, as far as the setup, this small thing that we have right here goes into the positive. You see how we have that connected into the positive. The longer cord that we have, this is the negative. You see this is connected all the way to the top of the booth. Okay, that is called your ground wire. Okay, the ground wire is basically the thing that allows you to strike an arc. If it's not grounded, it won't strike. Okay, so you got to have your ground wire connected. All right, now that we got everything set up properly, the first thing we got to do is we're going to take our welding gun. All right. So we're going to take our welding gun. First thing we're going to do is press the button, and we're going to watch that spool spin. Okay, so when we press the button, we want it to come all the way through the gun. Okay? See how it's spinning? See how the spool is spinning? We want everything to come all the way through the gun. So if you look at my gun, I'm gonna feel it coming through my hand. The wire is about to come all the way through the gun. I'm gonna feel it coming through my hand. It's about to come right out. Okay. There we go. So you see how the wire came out of there, right? Okay. So now we know we're properly engaged the way we should be. Okay. Now we're gonna put our contact tip on. This is a .35 contact tip. We're gonna put our contact tip on. Okay. It slides right on. Okay. Okay. Then we're gonna screw this in right here. Okay. Then we're gonna put our gas nozzle back on here. Okay. Now that we got that in, now you normally want to cut this excess wire. You want to keep the wire close to around about that 1/8 of an inch area. So you want to cut it down to about right here. Why? Because if the wire is too long, it'll cause that contact tip to jam and it'll mess up your contact tip. Okay? So you normally want to keep it real low. As you can see how low we got it. Okay? All right. So now that we have this set up, next we're going to go over the gas and the setting that you need to have your gas on. So you can close this. You can close your machine. We're going to slide our machine back. Okay. All right, so as a safety recap, I just want to remind everybody, whenever you're feeding the wire into the MIG gun, always make sure that you completely hold the button down until the wire feeds all the way through the gun. Sometimes if you continuously let the button go, the wire will hesitate, and sometimes it can cause it to get jammed into the wire, into the line. Okay, and which means you'll have to pull out the entire line, and it just causes unnecessary problems. Okay, so just always make sure you continuously hold the button down so that the wire can feed all the way through properly, and you'll be good to go. Okay, so just remember, here at Griffin's Industrial Welding School, this is just another preview of some of the things that you'll experience here, where hard work comes before success. And if you ever need any of these essential items, such as a MIG welder or any of the merchandise that we're using, remember, you can always visit us at Griffin Welding School.